There's no one answer. Everybody's different. Every caregiver's different. Every individual with any disease is different. And for the caregivers out there and you're doing what you can, and that is enough.
Welcome to the Economy Creators podcast and radio show on KFRED Work Life Balance Radio. I'm your host, Mary Farias. This is where we spotlight real stories of entrepreneurs and creators building their U shaped economy around their unique interests, talents, and experiences. This podcast is part of a larger space called Economy Creators. I'm editing and publishing the Economy Creators Anthology, where I highlight and share the stories of 11 entrepreneurs and creators. Each one is in different phases of their entrepreneurial journey, and each has an incredible story to tell. You'll get to meet and learn more about each of these economy creators on this show. Plus, learn some tips from those who are making it happen. If you would like to be on the show, want to learn more about the anthology or any of the co-authors, or simply have a question about being an economy creator, just reach out to me. I'm here to help you in any way that I can. And if you're an economy creator, I invite you to reach out and apply to be a guest. I love meeting and spotlighting economy creators. My guest on Economy Creators this week is Ludie Hansen, and I am so excited to talk to you, Ludie, today because you have such an interesting history and you have such a passionate place that you're heading. And so Ludie is and has been a speech pathologist for over 30 years. And she's actually going to be retiring by the end of this year, which is exciting for her. And I always love it when people retire and really move forward to what they're excited about and passionate about. But her passion really lies in giving support to caregivers who have loved ones with dementia. And this is such a needed space. And what I love about what we just talked about, Ludie, right before the call began, is that you are expanding and figuring out ways that you can support these people even more through alternate streams of income, which is really super cool because as an economy creator, of course, we're looking for those types of things. So, Ludie, welcome.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Oh, I'm so happy that you are. And to start, why don't you just give us a little bit of background about yourself and the economy that you've got going on right now?
It's a long backstory, but I'll shorten it. But I have been a speech language pathologist for 35 years, actually, this year. And I did decide that in December I'm going to, you know, hold off on that and go get go help where I want to help the most. So, but that came about because back in 2022, I got pushed out of my job. My daughter got cancer, breast cancer. She's fine now. But in trying to help her, I got kind of pushed out of my job and then I felt like I really lost my identity. And ended up being agoraphobic. It was like I didn't want to leave the house except to go out to appointments, take her to her appointments, things like that for 2.5 years. And then it finally got to the point where it's like, okay, my disability stuff has run out. I don't have income. We need income. And I had to push myself back out to work. So, and in the middle of all that, which if I had been working, I wouldn't have been able to. Both my parents got very ill in 2022. I was able to go back and forth from Arizona to Texas and help with caretaking with them. And that's when my heart just made that switch because it is hard. And even being, in the health field is hard. And I lost both of them just 16 days apart, actually.
Oh,
And,
wow.
if got through all of that, ended up needing to go back to work, and I was not enjoying myself. It just still wasn't a, "I love this anymore," kinda thing. It was stressful for me. And so during that process, I was trying to figure out what can I do instead? Um to be able to support who I wanna support. And that's when I went through a couple cycles of different things, and all of a sudden, just a light bulb went off, and I'm like, what I loved most in my entire 35-year career was working in dementia care, assisting, support staff in the communities, um, helping the individuals that are caring for their loved one at home, teaching, educating. But what got me so mad all the time was if I was in a facility or something, people would say, "Oh, they have dementia. We can't do anything." And I'm like, you're kidding me, right?" So it just made me so upset. And so that's where my passion lies and how I got there.
Oh, that's so wonderful. My dad at the end of his life also had dementia, and it is a heart-wrenching experience, and I wasn't the one who was the caregiver, my brother was, God bless him, and, but just even going through that as a child of, your parent going through that dementia experience and then the family going through that experience, it's very hard, and so I can imagine that people in that position who are actual caregivers feel that at a much more, weighted feeling than I did
Yeah,
just the child from afar, but at the same
right.
time, Ludi, I love that you're following that passion and that you took the time to ask yourself, "Where does my passion lie?" And was that how did you come to that point where you asked yourself that? Because we don't always do that.
Yeah. So in the process of choosing something, because I knew I didn't want to keep doing face-to-face one-on-one, mainly because a couple of my very first patients passed away within a month of when I started working again. And I'm like, I can't, my heart can't do this
Mhm.
anymore. So I'm like, okay, I lost 100 pounds. Maybe I can be a weight loss coach. It was work. It felt like work, trying to put it all together. And I'm like, okay, maybe just a lifestyle coach. I've been through all kinds of heck right now. Um, and that's what I was working on when I got into a challenge. And I kept writing up things. Then I'm like, this is not what I want to do. And then at literally the 11th hour, when I was about to have to present, I'm like, I know what I'm going to do. And that's how I got there, because I'm
Oh,
like,
wow.
that's what I love doing.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the back up against the wall always kind of illuminates, doesn't it?
Yes.
Oh, I love
Yes.
that.
I do my best work in 11th hour.
Yeah, yeah. I think we all do, or a lot of us do. Um, so so in throughout your 35-year career,
Yeah.
had you noticed the trend, of more dementia patients as years went on? Is that what you noticed?
Absolutely. I mean, it's just at an alarming rate rising. And um, there, I forgot the number. It used to be in my head, but there are millions actually of people that are caring for a loved one with dementia. And 80% of them are at home with their loved one because they can't afford the memory care units that are like 20 plus $1,000 a year, or even to pay for to bring in support in the home. And the caregivers feel like they've lost their identity. I think that's where my heart went, because that's what I went through.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah, no,
talk
it's definitely growing.
Mhm. Yeah. Well, talk a little bit about that losing your identity and finding it again, because I think what you just said is so important. People who are steeped in someone else's world in their life and helping somebody else and caring for somebody else who is very dependent on them would have that identity shift, right? And so maybe talk a little bit more about that and what you experienced and what shifted for you and how you got out of it.
Yeah, actually, I can talk a few sides because mental health came into it, obviously, as well. So I was seeing a psychiatrist to help me get medicated a little bit so I could just at least get out the door and not have a panic attack. Um, that I did that, and then I was seeing counselors. I went through about 4 before I found one that I was like, "Okay, we're on the right track together." And that's the one that helped me drill down. She just kept saying, "Why? Why? How's that make you feel? Why?" And we drilled it down to the final fact that I felt worthless, useless
Mm.
and worthless, when that happened. And, uh, even when you're caregiving, you don't feel like you're doing everything you can do. You feel like a failure sometimes, and you're not failing. I want to get that out there. You're not failing. You're doing your best, and that's all you can do. And just being there is a blessing.
Yeah. Oh, that's so true. So let me ask you this. What is the most what support do you provide these caregivers? Because I think in a it makes sense that yes, we they need support, but what is it specifically that you give them so they can feel better?
Right, and it's not easy. I mean, they don't have time to sit on a training. Most of the training out there is about dementia, not necessarily what you can do. They're always told, "Make sure you take care of yourself," but when's the time? Where is it? You know? And then when a loved one gets a diagnosis, you do not know anything about it. And then all of a sudden you're walking out of the doctor's office and you're like, I I don't know what to do." And then as the path goes on, the brain of that your loved one is changing, behaviors change. You know, they don't start to not recognize you. They start to not eat. I'm going long span here, but um, having trouble physically, asking you the same question over and over, just anyone who's caring for someone that has memory loss knows what I'm saying. But
Mhm.
so what I created with my background as a speech pathologist, an actual app. It's actually a website that you can log into on your phone, a tablet, or a desktop. And what it offers is answers. What do I say in the moment?
Oh.
Mom is doing this, or dad is doing this, or my husband is doing this. I don't know what to do. You can literally there's some choices you can pick, but you can also physically write in or talk. I have it so you can talk to it, explaining what's going on, and then it's gonna come back when you do that and say, "You're probably personally in an agitated state yourself or a startled state, not knowing what to do," not agitated, a startled state, and let's get you grounded first, and so it gives a nervous system reset right then and there that takes seconds, and then when you feel like you can handle it, you go back. Sometimes you may have to skip that just because of the moment and go right into the next step where when it says you're ready, it turns to the next page and it says, "This is what you can say in this moment." And then it says, "You don't wanna do this." It lets you know, avoid doing these things. And these are some things you can try to, help work out of that moment that has become uncomfortable. And, and then it just kind of walks you through all that. And then also, I think the last thing it tells us is why it might be happening. Because you're like, they did this yesterday. Why can't they do it today? So, there is a learning module, but you don't have to do that. That's there if you want to. There's a whole section about the visual changes that occur as the disease progresses and how you should approach your loved one so that you're not startling them or scaring them and things like that. So it's got a lot of stuff in it. And yeah, so that's kind of what I created. and I want it in everyone's hands that needs it. That's what.
Yeah. Ugh. So, how did you go about creating something like that?
Okay, this is the fun part. It's all fun. I actually enjoy it all. I went to an event in March and to get in the room and meet people so I could share what I have, and I met people. One of them was somebody who was doing vibe coding. I don't know if anyone knows what that means, but now you can do things with, computers and programming and things like that where you can just talk your normal voice. You don't have to know code because AI knows code and can do it for you. You give it the what you want, and then it spits it out in code and develops it, and it was a took me a little while to kind of fine tune it and get what I wanted in there and to make it easy to navigate and all that, but I mean, it doesn't happen overnight. You're still creating it, but, that's how the app came about, and then
Wow.
and then I also have another app just called Caregiver Calm, just for any caregiver, what you can do to calm yourself, and it has a variety of nervous system resets in it too,
Yeah.
and that
Oh,
yeah.
that's so great because I love the fact that they can go there in the moment because things happen and you don't know exactly how to handle them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not like you can call you up on the phone and say, "Ludie, Ludie,
Right.
what do I do right now?" But the next best thing is to have you in their pocket. So that sounds incredible. And I love that piece on don't do this because those might be our natural reactions, right?
It is. It usually is. This is you don't wanna try to use logic. It won't work. It'll just escalate the situation typically. So, yeah,
Yeah.
but there's
Yeah.
other ways to approach.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
you can message me, and I obviously can't get back immediately every time, but I'll have an ability to come back and respond. I wanna create a community on my website where people can just like a support community, just like they do on Facebook and everything, but just have my own built in that, if you have this app, come communicate with us. Yeah,
yeah, that I'm sure is going to be extremely valuable, just supporting one another through this journey. And and probably the end of the journey is also mixed feelings, I think, for people, isn't it?
it is. I actually have a chapter I've worked on. It's called I think it was a chronicle I did, The Long Goodbye,
Mm.
because you're losing them because they're not the mom or dad or spouse they always were, and you're living it, but then you actually lose them. So it's a mixed bag of emotions,
Yeah.
and one of the biggest things I want caregivers to know more than anything else, get help. Don't hesitate to just even, you know, I think they've got online now where you can get a counselor for $15 for, just to talk. But I also have, resources, um, I don't think they're on my website yet, but they're coming, with agencies where you can call 24/7 and do just that. If you just went through a really hard time, you can call these guys. I'm trying to set something up where I have that accessible as well. Um, so there's so much I can do. I just
Yeah.
really excited about it and what's possible just from, you know, being in the Facebook groups, um, hearing what they're struggling with, etcetera. I mean, it's heart-wrenching, but it makes me see where the biggest gaps are.
Mhm. Yeah,
That's what's helping me.
right. And so y as a speech pathologist for 35 years, and how has that experience fueled and helped this work that you're doing now?
Communication. because our degree is communication disorders. So anytime, there's a change in the brain from a stroke, a head injury, Parkinson's, anything that changes the brain and how it normally functions, communication can definitely change. It doesn't always, but it definitely can. And that's really the underpinnings of it. Words aren't the only way to communicate. And one of our last senses that we lose in the process of the changing brain is our sense of touch. So even just sitting there and holding a hand is comforting to us. And then our hearing, rhythm, recognizing rhythm and music. So those are great things to have in your toolkit. Hey, there's another thing I need to create, toolkit.
Yes. Yes. Oh, yes. That would be
People just shoot me ideas.
yeah, oh, that's such a great idea. Yeah, we'll give everybody, your contact information at the end, and
Ah,
if they have ideas, they can send them your way because this is fantastic. So, Ludi, before we, started recording today, you talked about a little bit of a shift in how you're approaching this. Do you wanna talk about that?
I would love to. Initially, my app, which is called Revival Haven, was built to be a subscription service, and I hated it. I hated wanting to charge money for something like that when it just needs to be out there because it was really designed for the caregivers that can't afford that extra support, and it's like, how can I ask them to spend money to do this? So, I, recently, have been learning more and more about AI and developing programs and things like that, and I, have decided that that's where my income's gonna come from, so I can get Revival Haven Chronicles, my book, uh, any tool I create out to the public. So, for free or at a very limited cost. So, I think right now I have Revival Haven in for $5 for lifetime, one-time payment. So
Mhm.
and then with all the updates and everything that come with it. So as it develops over time. But my goal is to be able to just really get that out. So what I'm doing is I did it for myself first because I'm learning how to do it. I created an entire workforce. I have an AI assistant named Mercy. Mercy goes through my email, give her Mercy, and organizes and gets the junk out and clears it so I don't have thousands of emails in there. Um, and I have Charity is my socialite. She's the one that is grooming the internet and looking at posts, and I can actually have her reply, but I don't yet. They asked me, "Would you like to reply to this? I can come up with an idea for you to put out." And I'm like, "Yeah, give me an idea." And then you tweak it how you really want it or like it. They learn your style over time, and eventually people don't know it's not you physically telling them, but you're approving it? So it's like, "Oh my gosh, you said that so much better than I would have been able to say it." But little things like that, can give a response to an email like, "Oh, we got this. We'll get back to you as soon as possible." That can be an automatic email that goes out. Um, things like that. I have a specialty grant writer whose name is Providence. Her name is Providence. So, and then I have an art director named Verity, and she's helping me create images for my book with all the right lighting, hopefully not looking totally AI, because and AI is changing, and I can sit here for 12 hours and realize, "Oh my gosh, it's been 12 hours. I think maybe I got up to go to the bathroom. Maybe I got up to get a drink." But it's obviously something I love doing and learning. So that's where I'm shooting for to make income. And my goal is to help coaches and one-man shows be able to free up their time so that they have time to do what they actually love.
Yeah. Oh, I think that's magnificent. A whole workforce. I always call AI my employee of the month.
Yes.
So I can't imagine if I had an entire workforce behind me. That would be spectacular. I love it. I love it. So I love the idea too, Ludi, that you are thinking of alternate ways of bringing money in so that you can really truly focus on providing the the service that your heart just wants to provide at a deeper level. I love that piece of it. So thank you for that. Thank you.
I'm excited I found a way to do it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, if we ask, the answer's there, right?
That's right.
Yeah. So along this you have had a long path, 35 years in speech pathology, and now really focusing in on the dementia caregivers and the AI piece. What are some things that you've had to unlearn along the way? Because let's face it, 35 years in a particular workforce or work in a particular employment structure or whatever it is going to train us somehow. So, what are some things that you had to unlearn to get to where you are?
One of the biggest was I had to learn money. Just because something gives you more money doesn't mean it's going to make you happy. And that was huge for me. I mean, I've always been the breadwinner for my family. And so when I stopped working, things got tight. And, it still kind of is because I'm not working full time. And, but I'm happy. And you truly have to do something you love. And that as actually one of the decisions why I made the decision to retire in December. I'm 62 in December. It's the first time I can retire, and if I need that income to hold me up, it will. It's gonna bring in at least what I'm bringing in now, so then I can still focus on the other things. So that's kinda where I had to go, and you have to look out of the box. There's so much going on, and changing. That this is the one thing that got me. Someone said the other day that there's gonna be 2 kinds of businesses in the future. There's gonna be businesses that go all in on AI, and there's gonna be businesses that are out of business. I
Mm.
was like, "Whoa, that's intense."
Yeah. Well, and here's the thing. I think the people who are the ones that you put in the column of going out of business, the ones that don't embrace AI, I think, and you are a perfect example of this, and so is my business too, because you have to continue and maintain human relationships inside of your business. So it's not like AI is taking that human aspect out of it. It's in fact enhancing the way that you can reach more people, don't you think?
That's exactly it, and I know there's a lot of fear out there. I'm learning more and more, but there's a lot of fear out there about we're losing all our jobs, and in reality, learn AI now, and you're gonna be the one that keeps your job because someone has to be in charge of the AI and make it do what it needs to do. Learn the workflows. Learn, start writing them out now. When you do this, what are the individual steps you do? How much of that can we automate for you so that you don't have to do that and you can just be done with that and move on to what you need to be working on? Things like that. But that does take someone still sitting there figuring out, okay, wait, how are we going to automate this, et cetera. And that's what businesses are doing too. They're making entire departments of like entire human resources, entire sales departments with AI employees, but someone has to still be in charge of them and orchestrate it. And, the orchestration part is sometimes you actually can create an AI person that passes off jobs, say, hey, I need this done. Then your orchestrator passes off that job to the team that needs to work on it, brings it back. in, like, minute amount of time compared to what real real trying to figure it out ourselves would have taken, like, so it's kinda like coding. What used to take months, weeks, years is now taking hours. It's crazy.
Ah, it is pretty amazing, and it's making us more efficient, it really is. We
Yes.
have to be discerning, we have to make sure that, we use our human brain, obviously,
Mm.
to, double check and make sure that the thing going out is in fact what we intend for it to go out. But there are so many benefits to using it for good, and, what you've described earlier, I think that that's one of them. Creating this app. Otherwise, would you have been able to do it?
I was getting disheartened because it would have taken I would have to, like, be in front of the camera, in front of on Zoom, like, big chunks of time, and I'm like, I'm going into retirement. Is that really what I wanna support this demographic, but am I gonna still love that? Or am I gonna have the freedom to be with my 5 grandchildren that are grown that can, and go do things and still be supportive of the demographic I wanna support?
And the fact of the matter is that it frees you up to be able to answer those calls in the moment or the texts in the moment. But getting on a Zoom call in the moment that the person is going through it
Yeah.
isn't helpful. It's not going to be a thing. So exactly what you just described, the app itself, they can just grab their phone really quick and put it in there and go, okay, okay, don't do that.
Even
But
push a button and say, "Mom's trying to run out the door. What do I do?" You can talk to it, and it'll come back and just skip the nervous system reset piece and go, "I'm ready," and it'll go right into what you should and shouldn't do and how to deal with it. So,
yeah,
yeah.
right.
I
And
know.
you can't do that on a Zoom call. You can't do that when, "Oh, I'll get you on a Zoom call, and then we'll do this."
Yeah.
The moment's over. Mom's down the road.
Right. Whereas the app, you can carry it with you, check go follow and figure out how to interact and can make it okay. So, yeah, my book, one of the my I created a book, and the title of it is "When They Want to Go Home," and they're home already. That's not part of the title, but they're already home, and, so I've had fun putting all that together, um, and looking forward to getting it out there to everybody too.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit more about what that book is about.
Absolutely. Yeah, it actually came from, I created kinda like a weekly post. It's not really a blog, kinda just a post, that I called Revival Haven Chronicles, and right now, they're just little stories, like, a moment that someone might have had and what it taught them kinda thing, and I thought, I think that'd be fun to put it in together as a book," and then as I started doing that, I was like, "Wow, I wanna add faith and the Bible verses and, encouragement that way into my book." And, so it's turned out to be I'm gonna read the title because I haven't memorized it yet. There's, like, a subtitle to it. "When They Want to Go Home, a 52-week devotional companion for dementia caregivers, a revival chronicle."
Oh,
So I'm gonna keep
and
building on it.
yeah.
But, yeah, it's set up so you don't have to do it in order. It's like, find the moment you're in, and you can go to that, and it actually gives you 5 things you can say for each moment, throughout the book, and, just gives you spiritual insight to, God knew we were gonna be caregivers, and just amazing. And so I've been really choosy about the Bible verses and that went with the story specifically and things like that. And then it has a little reflection place if you wanna write in it, but you don't have to. So, yeah, that's kinda it.
Oh, yeah, that sounds great. That sounds so good, and it sounds like it flows really nicely with the app and merges that information, of course. I think that that's so wonderful. So tell us a little bit about how you see your business or your well, not necessarily the business part of it, the just the support part of it. So you have the app, you have the book, you mentioned a website. So tell us a little bit about so if somebody signs up for something, what happens?
Okay. So the the website I have, if you land on it, it's giving you a choice of are you a caregiver or are you someone looking for AI help? So
Mhm.
and then it branches off to whichever side you want. If people want, they can get on a mailing list where they get, weekly little notes and of encouragement, in the mail, in the email or something. I would love to have that community on there, the caregiver support community, where we can all go in and just say, hey, this is happening. My goal with that also is to have resources on there, create webinars where I bring in specialty individuals like a PT that can give you ideas and suggestions when the walking's changing and physical movement's changing. OT to help you with, oh my gosh, how do I get them in the bathroom? They're scared of the bathroom. You know, I can't get them to take a bath. I can't get them to take a shower. And just general suggestions and ideas. And then just a variety of counselor resources and people that can come on the webinar. I'm hoping to do a webinar to start at least quarterly and then hopefully monthly after that once I kind of get a groove. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're gonna be that hub for those resources that's so valuable because I don't think you can throw a stone without hitting somebody who has been touched by dementia.
Yes, and I've noticed that out in networking events. Um, "Oh, I wish I had you a year ago,"
Yeah.
that's I hear that all the time,
Mhm.
and, yeah, so it is seriously becoming, its own pandemic, we'll say.
Mhm. Mhm. This is really remarkable, Ludi. I think that is so wonderful. So how can people well, how do people find you?
Oh, absolutely. Well, my website is ludiesrevival.com, and you can go to that and it'll have a link where you can, get to my email or send a note. It also, my email itself is info@ludiesrevival.com. So it's pretty simple. And I'm on Facebook. I'm always putting things on there. And I'm on LinkedIn, always putting things on there. Those are my two main focal social media. So, and if you know someone that's out of the state, out of the country, not out of the world, but out of the state or the country, I can make this app. I actually made it in Swahili because I have a group down in Africa that needs it. And that
Wow. And how do we find the
really
app?
put this away.
Yeah.
The app right now is there'll be a link to it on my new website. Um, it's called Revival Haven dot app, APP, and, that's the way you can get into it and look at it and check it out. There's a journal in there where you can track, "Hey, why'd this happen?" Write it down. "What happened right before this happened?" And then it'll take that information over time and show you trends if they notice any, if it notices any or anything like that. It's fun. I just have fun creating it, and I keep adding to it. So, like I said, I really do want people's input because I really want people to get it that need it and want to use it. To me,
Yeah.
that's more important.
Yeah. Oh, you do such tremendous work and it's so, so needed, Ludi. Have you ever met anybody that does what you do?
I had not prior to starting my adventure, I'm noticing a lot more on LinkedIn that there's more people um, that are like support for the caregivers and things like that. Like I said, that a lot of what's out there is training and education on the disease itself. There's over 100 different kinds of dementia out there, Alzheimer's being the top one. It's a form of dementia. I see a lot more, like, coaches and things like that, in there, but actually in other countries, there's a lot more support. It's
Really?
interesting. Yeah, I've noticed that through LinkedIn, and, there was a bill that was just passed that is offering support for professionals, doctors, um, things like that, for educating on how to diagnose sooner so that more supports can be put in. And that was a huge one that just passed a few days ago. And that's going to allow the primary care doctor to be able to give the diagnosis instead of waiting months
Oh,
before you can get into a neurologist and things like that. So
oh, wow.
there's a lot of education that's going out there. And that's where I'm headed next. I'm headed to the doctor's offices to say, here, please feel free to hand this out to, anybody that you feel needs it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, everybody needs it, I think, at some point. I mean, that's what it's coming to. It seems like
Yes.
everyone's going to be needing at least some sort of information on this.
Yeah,
That's the trend, right?
it is, and there's a lot more, advocacy going on right now for it too. It used to be like the dirty little word, but now it's like, we need to deal with this kinda thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I could have a conversation with you for hours, Ludie, because we didn't even scratch the surface about dementia itself, right? And
Mhm.
in that is
So
that is
much.
yes, there's so much. So, Ludie, do you have any final thoughts for our audience?
For the audience, there's no one answer. Everybody's different. Every caregiver's different. Every individual with any disease is different, and for the caregivers out there, you're there and you're doing what you can, and that is enough. It's kind of my little tagline. That is enough. Just know that.
Yes. Thank you, Ludi. I truly appreciate your time, and the work that you're doing is magnificent. So thank you so, so much.
You're very welcome. Thanks for having me.
Oh, my pleasure. And thank you for listening. Are you an economy creator? Join me for my free Economy Creators Workshop the first week of every month. And if you're interested in being on the Economy Creators podcast and radio show here on KFred Lifestyle Optimization Radio, please reach out and apply. I can't wait to meet you.